home, I'm starting to think that there's a chance.
Yeah, maybe it's coming home. I have to admit, at half time yesterday, I certainly wasn't in that camp. I was pretty frustrated. I'm sure I wasn't the only one. Felt like we were playing with 10 players because Harry Kane was anonymous at best. And we looked like we were finding it difficult to break lines and to create chances, whereas they were creating chances. And, you know, on those misses by Timo Werner and Thomas Muller, you know, probably rested our success. Those fine margins, you know, at the top level demonstrate that, you know, things could have gone very badly the other way quite quickly last night. So I wouldn't want to get too carried away from a tactical point of view, but perhaps that doesn't do enough justice to the job that Gareth Southgate, Steve Holland and the staff did setting up the team, and that the players did out on the pitch, because we were in control against one of the top nations in the world. It's not the best German side ever. It's also probably not the worst either. They had a lot of experience in there. They had some good players. Their 4-2 win against Portugal demonstrated just how dangerous they are and how good a side they are at the top level. And from a mentality point of view, it took a lot. It took a big effort and a really, really well coordinated effort by the England team to get over the line and to get that job done last night. And they did it impressively. Those last 15 minutes, you forget about the rest of it. What a great feeling. And I forget just what success for an England football team can do to my mentality, let alone anyone else's. One of the Spanish coaches on Twitter last night put an image of the fans celebrating behind Harry Kane and the England players who were celebrating the second goal. And he commented that there were only 2 or 3 of those fans trying to capture the moment on their smartphone, and they were, you know, you didn't notice them in comparison to the hundreds of fans who were just absolutely elated, lost in the moment, completely lost in the celebrations and the ecstasy of England, you know, scoring a second to make it safe, and the realisation that we'd beaten Germany at Wembley. It doesn't get that much better than that in international football. And I love to see any group of people get passionate about anything in life, but there's few things that, you know, I like to see more than a group of England fans completely lost in the ecstasy at that moment. I thought it was amazing, and I forgot just how it can make me feel, let alone anyone else. Tactics were pretty much spot on. I said before the game I would have gone much more attacking. I wouldn't have played Harry Kane. Kind of felt like, I still believe that Harry Kane probably, he wouldn't play in the team if I was the manager, but I'm not the manager. I need to go to great lengths to say this, that Gareth Southgate is the only guy who understands exactly what's going on in that camp, understands what the players are feeling, understands the stats. I think that's a really important thing that people miss, that, you know, the numbers that the players are posting or have been posting in games tell you a lot about how tired they are, about how capable they are, and we never see those. We never see those. You know, the analysts within England's setup will be furnishing Steve Holland and Gareth Southgate with this information, and I'm adamant that that will be a massive contributor to the team that he plays. I did say that I thought England's fairly safe tactics would suit or would potentially suit them better against teams who are better on the ball, higher quality teams who like to have the ball and look to try and break you down, because we do have pace up top, and hitting teams on the counter attack is clearly, that's our game plan. Our game plan isn't to dominate possession and to play little balls into intricate areas and try and combine to create chances through the middle of the pitch. Or at least I hope it's not, because clearly we're not able to do that at the moment. But he's playing to our strengths. We're playing down the sides, we're playing back, we're playing patiently till we lose the ball, and then when we win the ball back aggressively, and that was his plan. He said in his comments after the game that the plan was to aggressively press the opponents, particularly the fullbacks, so Trippier and Shaw, but also the likes of Rice and Phillips in midfield, not letting the likes of Toni Kroos settle on the ball, a bit like they did with Modric. And yeah, that pressure creates chances in transition. And when we attacked in that last 15 minutes, as they were tiring, we looked incisive for the first time in the game. So massive credit to Southgate. The rest of us are all wrong, or we're not all, well, yeah, it doesn't really matter whether you're right or wrong. We won 2-0 and he deserves a lot of credit. He's just an incredible communicator. I love the way he stayed so calm. I love the way he stayed so collected and not lost his composure in the face of what he knew was the inevitable onslaught of criticism from the likes of me as well. I think most people who know anything about me know I'm a huge admirer of Gareth Southgate, but it's been frustrating to see, particularly Harry Kane and the slightly safe approach where it feels like we've not been able to open teams up. But if you win football matches, you don't have to open teams up for 90 minutes. You only need to open them up for long enough to score the goals that win you the game. In terms of improvements that we can make, I've talked about Kane. Okay, he got his goal. He did actually look a little bit more influential the last 10-15 minutes. I still think he's way off it. And I still think a Dominic Calvert-Lewin or a Phil Foden playing up there means that we create more chances, and we have another area of the pitch that we can perhaps have some superiority in, because Matt Hummels just dominated Harry Kane for 95% of the game yesterday. And it's not just Matt Hummels, it's previously Thomas Kalas for the Czech Republic and the Scottish defenders, even the Croatian defenders. Harry Kane's done absolutely nothing. He doesn't look sharp, doesn't look match fit. He's not even winning his headers. Don't see in his body language anything that's driving people on. I mean, whichever way you assess a player's performance, the only thing I can come up with is that he scored a goal at the very end to secure the game. I think most players would have finished it in that position, and I'm not having that he's been vindicated or his performance was good because of that one moment, because it wasn't, and I still think that's a problem. The other thing I would say is that, as I said before, the midfield, the way we play with the double pivot, Rice and Phillips are great players, superb defensive players. I thought they were excellent last night, but very frustrating because they don't create angles to play through the midfield. They don't look to play balls in, and again, it could be because Harry Kane is just, for me, blocking the channel. But we had some real quality down both sides of the pitch, particularly Saka, and then obviously Sterling and Shaw, and latterly Grealish and Shaw. There's some real quality and creativity in those areas of the pitch, but there's zero creativity coming through the middle of the pitch, in the same way that Germany, when they countered on us, were able to play incisively through the middle of the pitch. It was like a knife through warm butter when they did open us up, which is a slight concern, but it just highlights that there's an area we can improve upon. I think if Jordan Henderson plays, I think his passing is more likely to enable that, but even more so, Mason Mount would be able to connect defence and attack and help us to play through the pitch in central areas. So I think that's an area we can improve on. Whether or not Southgate's bothered about that or focused on it, I don't know, but it's just an obvious statement to make. In terms of the really positive stuff, I mean, defensively we were awesome, absolutely awesome. Starts with Pickford. He's so assured, his communication's clear, his handling has been first class. His distribution with his feet is phenomenal. He's been really, really good and really assured. I just hope he doesn't get too carried away. I hope he just keeps on playing the way he's playing, because he's had a tendency in the past to get a little bit excitable, and perhaps now he's aging, he's had the experience of the World Cup. Perhaps he's now in a moment in his career where he understands how to conduct himself, how to build confidence in his teammates as well, because the teammates I'm sure are taking a lot of confidence from the quality of his performances behind them. Defensive three was superb. Harry Maguire came back, and he's obviously not quite match fit, but he was 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10, really solid. John Stones has been outstanding all tournament. I really, really like the way he conducts himself and the way he plays and how simple he keeps defending at the moment. He's adding those tiny details at the very elite set you apart. But a special mention really for Kyle Walker. His pace gets him back into situations, and when he got out of shape, then that was when Werner and Muller got in yesterday. When he was out of the three, when he wasn't somewhere in that central area to be able to protect and to recover, then they looked dangerous. But whenever he was there, his pace always protects him. But it wasn't just that; he's learning to use his body better. If you remember the goal that we conceded, the equaliser in the World Cup semi-final from Perisic, didn't open his body, didn't track the runner, didn't have contact, didn't affect Perisic's run. I'm seeing him do that. These details in the penalty area are so critical, and I think Trippier is excellent. I think he's a superb 1v1 defender in tight areas, in critical areas of the pitch. And I see Walker starting to defend a bit more like Trippier does. And I think he's been possibly the best player in this tournament so far. That's how highly I rate his performances. The two fullbacks were good as well. Two fullbacks, like I say, Trippier was solid, rock solid, always solid. What a dependable footballer he is at the very highest level. And Luke Shaw, I thought the battle between him and Kimmich would be key. Kimmich did get in immediately after we scored once, and that was kind of running in off the shoulder on the inside of Shaw and off Harry Maguire. But aside from that, I thought he pressed Kimmich. Kimmich didn't get down the outside. They weren't able to play through that area of the pitch, which is unusual for a German side, or that's what been one of their strengths. And of course, what Luke Shaw brings you from an attacking perspective, particularly with that combination with Grealish. When Grealish plays, his first instinct is to receive it wide, but then to cut in or to fake to go in. And he takes defenders with him and creates the opportunity for Shaw to get down the side. And yeah, I thought he was outstanding, Luke Shaw, and consistent with the performances we've seen from him at Man United this year. And then to finish with Sterling. Sterling, not everyone's cup of tea. His final action isn't always perfect, and that's why he gets criticised. But his numbers are unbelievable. He scored 3 goals in this tournament. Scored goodness knows how many goals over the course of his career, and in increasing return. Someone said on Twitter yesterday that he doesn't perform he can't defend to save his life. That's nonsense. He's one of the most intelligent attacking players in the world against the ball. So not only does he track runners in and win, but he won one ball down deep in the left-hand defensive area of our pitch in the second half yesterday. But he also blocks spaces. He also channels the opponent's play through areas we want them to play through, because he's intelligent in the way he presses, and that's obviously been helped with the likes of Brendan Rodgers and Pep, and now surely Gareth Southgate and Steve Holland. But his performances, his consistency, and also the fact that he gives us a threat at times when England look like we've got no threat. Him and Saka in the first half yesterday, they gave us all a little bit of hope that England could open up Germany, because when he puts on the afterburners and he looks to shift to one side and then cut back the other, kind of not a chop, but I guess a chop with the outside of the foot. It's very difficult for defenders to stay with him, and all it needs is for you to break one line to beat one defender in that type of situation, to open up opportunities to get at the opponents, and he consistently does that. So enough about tactics. Let's just stick on our England shirts, wave our England flags, open your tins of beer, jump around like lunatics, and enjoy what I think is just exactly what we all needed. The tonic of a summer tournament where England do well. There's a lot more to come from this England side, but we've all got to have a huge amount of confidence after beating the Germans yesterday. As a kid, I grew up watching us get beaten by teams like Italy and Argentina and Germany, who I thought were the elite, because they had such control of games. Tactically, they seemed to be so well set up. And we would be the gallant losers, heroic gallant losers, but losers all the same at some stage. I'm not sure that we quite have that same profile anymore. I think this England team is much more battle hardened, is experienced, is growing together. We still probably need 1 or 2 more attacking options to come to fruition if we're going to win the tournament. But after seeing the way that we've grown into the tournament and the way that we managed last night's game, there's nothing beyond this team in this tournament. I don't fear Italy, don't fear Belgium, don't fear Denmark. I don't fear Spain. I don't fear any of the sides. Ukraine will sit in and defend in a deep block, and we're going to have to come up with a slightly different game plan, or perhaps just be patient again. Make sure that we keep the back door locked, so that as the game gets stretched, that we use that pace. So let's see. But we should have no fear and respect them, as I'm sure we will do. But this is hopefully turned into something special, and I hope that a generation or multiple generations remember this summer for all the right reasons.